Hello, my yoga friends. Today we are going to be focusing on the hips. We have tight hips as a society because of the way we are always sitting down. So when we bring the knee into the chest, that is hip flexion. When we stand upright, we're extending the hip, and then we're actually hyperextending the hip as we bring it back. But opening up and stretching those hip flexors is really, really important. So I have some blocks and some pillows. You might want a chair or a wall to hold on to begin with, because we are going to start with standing, and we're going to start with some balancing poses. So welcome to class. Excuse me. If you want to come with me and the Spotify playlist, you can go ahead and start that now. I'm going to bring my feet right underneath my hips. And I'm going to notice in my everyday life if I have a tendency to turn my feet out. That's very common. But in yoga and mount pose, we want to square the hips to the front of the space. And just feel into that sensation of the feet rooting down. Strong core, tail tucked. Shoulders relaxed down away from your ears. And then the crown of the head reaching up to the sky. You can feel into the way that the body parts are stacked one upon each other. Removing distractions, staying present to this moment. We're going to take a deep inhalation, and you can bring a little tension into your arms. So it's an inhale up. And then let's just pause here for a moment and check out where our arms are. Are they straight up in the sky? Are shoulders way up by our ears? We're going to relax those down. And then engage back into the core and back into the feet. Palms touch, and you can bring the hands down. And let's just flow this time. No pause at the top. Breath in. Just keep your spine straight. Breath up. One more time. We're going to step our feet out just a little bit, and we're going to bring a sway into the spine. So softening, looking around, noticing if our neck is particularly tight in any area, warming up the joints. Could lift one heel, set it back down, lift the other. Okay, let's bring our feet back, hip width apart. We're going to open up the front of the hip by taking one leg back and over to the side. So feel into the front of the hip. You can or you can bend the supporting leg here if you like. And notice what this feels like, the opening of the front of the hip. Take a deep breath in. Let's bring it to the other side. If you're not feeling much, you could always take it a little bit further back. And then bring it back to center. We're going to do some internal hip and external rotation, and we're going to warm up the shoulders at the same time. So shifting one foot, same arm. It's like a figure 8, slow Figure 8. It could be small. It could make it big. Toe in, toe out. Move the head. Last one. Bring it back to center. Switch to the other side. Watch the hand. Breathe. This one doesn't want to do a figure 8 for some reason. There we go. Okay, let's bring it back to center. I'm going to take my feet even wider than hip width, or even wider than shoulder. So if you're oriented this way on your mat, you want to turn sideways. And the goal here is to keep your spine, everything stacked. So my tail is tucked. It's not sticking out. I don't have any arch in my low back. And then I'm going to take my toes out. I'm going to reach my arms up, straighten my legs. And then as if I'm like forcing my arms through something nice and thick, it's hard. I'm going to sink my hips down to my depth, keeping your spine vertical to begin with. So spine is vertical. Look up. Look down. Inhale up. This is our beginning of our squat warm up. Two more. Now, let's see if we can come over. You could turn your toes in a little bit and rest our elbows onto our thighs. So my upper body now is coming forward. And just breathe into this shape. Maybe you're not all the way down. You could rest your hands. You could just come down a little bit. You could use a wall or a chair. And then press to rise. Feeling into the strength of your hips. Take a deep breath in. We're going to glue our forearms together. Take our stance a little bit wider, and we're going to sink and rise. So just moving those forearms, touching them, creating a little spirals. Building strength and mobility in the body. Last one, down and up. Okay, let's bring our feet back underneath us. We're going to do a little side bend. So hands down beside the body, feet hip width apart, gentle open up the side and come back through center and open up the other side. Okay, let's take our spine into a gentle twist. And then when you're ready, we're going to come to the front of our mats, planting your feet. We're going to shift our body weight over to the right foot, and the left leg is going to be able to come straight back. So it's almost as if I am on cross-country skis here. One way to make this a little bit easier on your low back is to bend that back knee. Typically, we straighten it to open up this front hip. Hands could come to your hips. They could come to your heart. They could come up over the head with shoulders relaxed down. Breathe. Now from here, we can transition into warrior two by pivoting that back foot. So bringing the hands back down, we're going to pivot the back foot, maybe widen our stance a little bit. Front heel lines up with back instep. I make sure that my front of my thigh is externally rotated and this one is internally rotated. And I reach my arms out, palms down. Take a deep breath in, palm up, front hand, reach up and back. Keep the bend in that front leg. Exalted warrior. Side bend. Take a deep breath in, bring your hands back down. Forearm comes to lightly rest on the thigh. And then let's take our arm up, straight up from the shoulder, and bring dynamic energy into that arm. Breathe. Take a deep breath in. Let's come back up. We're going to pick up that back leg, turn, and step it forward. Little spinal twists. And we're going to do the other side. So it's high lunge first. So shifting your body weight, stepping one leg back. Play with bending that knee, tucking the tail, and play with straightening the leg. And notice how that feels really different in your low back. Hands could stay at your hips, heart, or come up overhead. Breathe. Take a deep breath in, transitioning to warrior two. Make sure that that knee does not come out over your ankle and the leg does not collapse in. Engage your low belly, palm up, reach up and back. Take some deep breaths. Take one more deep breath in. On the exhale, bring your forearm down to your thigh lightly, and then take the other arm up. Breathe. Take a deep breath in, bring it back up to center. We're going to pick up that back heel, step it forward, and then come into our twists. And we're going to find our way down and into a seated position. We're going to take our feet out in front of us and our hands back so that your fingertips are pointed to the back of the mat. And I just want you to gently take your knees from one side and to the other. We're going to walk ourselves back in. We're going to come into the pose of the day, which is cobbler's pose, Baddha Konasana, cobbler's pose, or sometimes this is also called bound angle. So you could have your hands on your feet. You could have them on your shin. Your feet can come out further away from your hips. Eventually, you might be able to draw your feet a little bit closer so that you can hold on to your feet. And you can create a little tension, line tension between your hand and your shoulder. Sitting up nice and straight. So we don't want to be over arched spine. We want to make sure that we sit up nice and straight. So however far you need to move those legs is the point here. Baddha Konasana, cobbler's pose, pose of the day. Now, if you like, you can sit still or you could bring that sway into this pose. Now we're going to take the left foot out and we're going to bring the right leg in. And I want you to see if it feels okay to turn this leg in and take it to the back. So this requires a little bit of flexibility in the front of your thigh. So sometimes this is referred to as mermaid's pose. If that doesn't feel okay to you, you can always just keep it out like this. Okay, we're going to do some twists here. So wherever you are, we're going to twist towards that front leg, extending the spine up, bring opposite hand over, and then turn your head. See if you can get your other hand close to your body. So I'm not leaning back into my hand, I'm sitting upright. Breathe. Take a deep breath in, come back through center, and we're going to turn and we're going to do a little sweet counter twist. And then bring it back to center. Let's do the other side. So shifting, remember this is an option to have this leg up. Maybe you can bring it back. Just notice you can feel into this opening of the front of the thigh. Sitting up nice and straight. Opposite hand to the opposite thigh or front leg. Reach up and place your hand behind you, close behind. Reach the crown up and twist into the pose. Take a deep breath in and bring it back through center, other side. Take a deep breath in, come back to center, and then let's take our knees one more time, side to side. Feet are wide here. Breathe. Okay, bring yourself back in. We're going to see if we can straighten one leg and bring the other one in so that the foot rests on the inside of your thigh. And then we're going to pivot and take our chest over towards that direction of that long leg. So this is going to check in. We're going to check in here with our hamstring and also our low back. If you need to, you can place a pillow or a blanket underneath this leg. Some people find this uncomfortable. It feels like it's hyperextending their knee. So taking a deep breath in, just forward folding, chest to thigh, and then relax, chin to chest. Don't tug on your head. Where do you feel the stretch? Notice low back. Take a deep breath in and with a straight spine, come back up. Shifting to the other side. Let's do the other side. Turning. Forward folding. Just taking it to your depth. Chin to chest wherever you are. Take a deep breath in and bring it back up. We're going to bring our feet down to the ground and they're going to come hip width apart. And we're just going to see if we can open up the front of the chest here. Fingertips can face towards your bottom and then squeeze the shoulders and lift the chest up. Don't let the head fall all the way back. So breathe and lift the heart towards the sky. Take a deep breath in, release. Hands come to the backs of your thighs and we're going to roll down nice and easy. A pillow or a block we're going to use in a minute, so that could be available to you. We're going to set up for bridge pose, which is a hip flexor stretcher. So it's going to open up the front of our hips. So feet come in. We want them feet parallel. We want the legs to stay parallel. Hands down beside the body, press the low belly into the ground, nice and strong, and then lift from there, squeezing, coming up onto your shoulders, and seeing if you can relax your face as you squeeze and lift. This is also a gentle back bend, so pay attention to the sensations in your low back. Opening the front of the hips. Take a deep breath in, starting at the top of the spine. You can lower yourself down. We're going to take our both feet up into the sky. And I just want you to hang them out, and you could give them a little shimmy if you like. So my low back is pressed down to the ground. You could shake them. Relax your jaw. Okay, let's bring those feet back down. We're going to take one leg up and cross the ankle over the thigh. Bring the shin parallel to your hips, and then maybe draw it in. And you could give yourself a little rock here. This is a really, really, really good stretch for the hips. Notice where you feel. Let's bring that leg back down, switch to the other side, lift the leg up, cross it over, flex your foot, shin parallel to the hips, maybe draw it in, grab hold of the foot and the knee and gently sway side to side. Okay, let's release that leg. If you have a block or a pillow, we're going to do supported bridge pose for a moment. So the blocks or a book or a pillow, you want to slide that not under your low back, but under your pelvis. So this should not be painful. Some people find it painful because they might have issues with the joints in their pelvis. So this should not feel painful to you. And the goal here, this is a passive release. And so we're kind of opening up the front of the hips. We're bringing our arms, palms up, out to the sides of the body. And we're just going to see how big and soft we can get in this posture. If you like, you can try some deep belly breathing, which is kind of intense because it's diaphragmatic breathing. But on the inhale, you could extend your belly out big, and then on the exhale, draw the navel into the spine. So this moves the abdominal organs, but it also builds strength in those muscles, which are useful. Inhale, exhale. Okay, bringing your hands to, if you're supported, to the support, lifting yourself up and sliding it out from underneath. Feet come into the sky. Knees are wide, so they're wider than my body. I could bring my hands to my ankles, to my shins, and I could pull my legs towards my body. You could flex your feet. It's almost as if you're squatting on the floor or on the ceiling. Option to take side to side. So notice my low back is being supported by the ground. If you need to, you can always keep your feet further up, knees not so far down. This is deep hip flexion. And then when you're ready, let's bring those feet back down. We're going to grab onto the backs of our thighs and roll up, down a couple of times. And then crossing your legs, coming up and onto all fours. So from here, we're going to sit back onto our knees or onto our ankles, heels, and feel into the stretch of the front of the thighs. If you need to, you can always come up. You could also sit on a block. Take a moment here. Close your eyes, feel your spine, sense your hips and your shoulders. Now let's take our arms out to the sides and then to the back, opening up the chest. Keep your core strong, and then one arm underneath the other. And then grab onto the backs of your shoulders and lower your chin into your chest. Creating space between your shoulder blades. Take a deep breath in, open back up, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and then other arm on top, wrap. Chin to chest. Take a deep breath in, open them back up. We're going to come onto all fours and we're going to try low lunge. And so this might be where you need to pad your knees with a blanket. We're going to come onto all fours and we're going to see about stepping the right leg between the hands, and then notice that my knee is way, way, way behind, or my knee is way behind my hip. So I'm opening up the front of the hip. You can stay here. You could come up. Here it is okay for this knee to come out over the ankle. Breathe. Take a deep breath in. Let's bring the hands back down and switch legs. If you're not feeling anything in your hips, it's probably because that back knee is not far enough behind. You can stay here or bring it up. Find your gaze. Take a deep breath in. Let's bring our hands back down. We're going to plant our hands and curl our toes and come into downward dog. So curling our toes, lifting our knees up, pressing the hips back. See if you can get your tailbone up to the sky. From here, we're going to walk our hands back towards our feet. Could bend the knees, coming into our first forward fold. This is hip flexion. Top of the head can come down towards the ground. Can always keep your knees bent, or Begin to straighten them and shifting your body weight to the front to become more vertically aligned. Now we're going to come into monkey pose. So hands are going to come to the shins, and then I'm going to straighten my arms. And I'm going to see if I can keep my neck and my head in line with my spine so that I feel a line from my tail all the way out the top of my head. Okay, take a deep breath in and then just come back down. We're going to roll up if that feels okay to your spine. So tucking your tail, bending your knees deeply, and then just let yourself come up. Okay, we are going to try squats. It's sometimes useful to use pillows or books or blocks or a short stool. So I'll just demonstrate with some pillows. So you might find that you can come down all the way, but your heels are up off the ground. That is okay. I have to widen my feet quite a bit and turn my feet out. Maybe you are right here. Maybe your elbows are on your knees. Maybe you're up here, right? You can also hold on to a wall or hold on to a chair. With the support, added support, maybe you could sit down and then bring your elbows to the inside of your thighs and press them outward. And then the knees press back. And this creates a lift of the spine up, engaging the pelvic floor. Wherever you are, breathe. To come out, you could press to rise. We're going to come back up and into standing. For our balance, we're going to try eagle legs. So let's start by shifting to the left foot, and then the right foot can move. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to cross at the thigh, squeezing towards the midline. Top of the foot could come down, or the foot could come down, toe could touch. Hands on the hips, hands in front of the heart. You could flex the foot and then sink into chair pose. Squeeze the thighs together. Find a gaze point. Take a deep breath in, bring it back up. Let's do the other side. Crossing over. Sinking the hips as if you're sitting in a chair. Squeeze the thighs together. Take a deep breath in. Let's rise out and out. Okay, let's just move the body. If you want to and are feeling a little bit of playfulness, you could bring yourself down and back up from the floor a couple times. If not, you could just come down and stay down. And then when you're ready, finding your way down onto your back body for final relaxation. We can fidget to begin with. And then slowly bring ourselves down. Remember, you could always keep the knees bent, pyramid the knees together, feet are wide. Otherwise, taking the feet out. You could put a pillow or a blanket under your knees. And this is a difficult pose simply because it's really easy to step out of class mentally here or even physically. But seeing if we can stay present to the moment. You could listen to the sounds. Could do a little bit of exploration in the body, sensing places that you don't often sense. Maybe it's the eyes, the teeth, the tips of your fingers, the backs of your knees. And staying here for as long as you like, or that you're able. If you're coming with me, we can roll over onto the side body, bring your knees into your chest. Give them a little bit of a squeeze inward, hip flexion. And then take a deep breath in. Let's come up. Crossing your legs for the first time, just noticing how your hips feel. Maybe it's a little bit easier to sit. Bringing your hands to your heart, giving yourself a little bow, thanking yourself for coming to the practice today, thanking our community for being here. Namaste.